Before you buy that land you are currently seeing, that land you want to pay that money, you have to make sure you watch this video because this is very important for you, my smart investors and beautiful people. We have guidelines when it comes to buying land and building. So if you're interested in buying land and building, this video is for you. So the video is very long because it's very cumbersome on the instruction, the guideline you need to follow when it comes to buying land and building. So on today's video, we'll be starting from land documentation. Land documentation. So what is land documentation? Imagine you want to buy a toy and you go to a store. So after purchasing the toy, how do you prove to your friend that this toy is yours? You have to show them the receipt of payment. By showing them the receipt of payment, it guarantees you that you are the owner of this toy. Now let's put it in the form of a land. If you want to buy a land, how does it work? It also works the same way. Your documentation, the set of papers, proves that you are the owner of the land. It is more or less like a birth certificate or the golden receipt for a piece of land. Now, what is inside that golden receipt? There are few things inside that golden receipt that guarantees you as the owner. The map. What do I mean by the map? The survey plan. The survey plan shows the exact boundary so that everyone will know where your land stands and where it stops. Another one is the government stamps. This proves that everything is in check and your land is safe and legal for you to use. Why is this so important? So that we don't have multiple owners. Once a land is guaranteed, it's written under you, it shows that you are the bona fide owner of it. Just like when you buy a toy and you get a receipt of it, it shows that this toy belongs to you. The same thing applies to the land. Your documentation guarantees you that you are the bona fide owner of the land. And if you want to sell the land or you want to pass it down to your family, this paper are what you will use to transfer the ownership smoothly. Now, without this paper, a piece of land is like a storybook without a title. Nobody knows who wrote it or who it belongs to. The buyer's job is to understand the history of the land, verify the land, not just to have the photocopy. Different documents answers different questions. One document does not automatically prove everything. Now let's talk about titles. The number one on my list is Certificate of Occupancy, which we are all mostly familiar with it, which is also known as C of O. It's an official certificate given directly to you by the government that says that you have the full permission to sit on it, to use it and enjoy the piece of land for a whole 99 years. Think of it as a VIP pass or a driver's license for the piece of land. Now, what is so special about Certificate of Occupancy, the CFO? It is the ultimate proof. It is the highest proof government recognize you as the rightful user of that ground. It is also a safety net. It guarantees you that this land isn't marked for future public road, state projects, or owned by someone else, because a CFO can only be issued once. It cannot be tampered with or issued to another person unless it is being transferred. Now, it can also be used as a bank superpower. If you need a loan from a bank will tell you to bring something. You can always tender your certificate of occupancy as a proof of ownership that you own a property. Now, in many places like Nigeria, all the land technically belongs to the government. That is why when they hand over a CFO to you, they usually give you the exclusive rights for 99 years. So after the 99 years, your children or your grandchildren can simply renew it with the government to keep using it. Now, the next we have is governor's consent. A CFO, a certificate of occupancy, and governor's consent, they both work hand in hand. You can think of them as the first owner and the next owner. Let's take this as an example. Mr. A owns a land with a certificate of occupancy. Like I said, a certificate of occupancy is only registered for a particular person. The name cannot change. Now, Mr. B is interested in buying Mr. A land, and Mr. A is willing to sell the land. So what do? They go into an agreement. And they get it stamped. Once it is stamped, it is registered as a governor's consent. The governor has stamped it and has verified it that Mr. B is now the rightful owner. Without the stamp, the land still officially belongs to Mr. A with the certificate of occupancy, which is very important. When you are buying a CFO land, you have to make sure you go into an agreement with the owner, which is Mr. A, to make sure you have all the necessary information on the agreement, both name under the agreement, the form of selling, which is the amount, getting it signed and having it stamped and sealed, which guarantee Mr. B as the rightful owner. So automatically like that, Mr. B will be getting a governor's consent. So at every time anybody wants to sell a land like that, it gets transferred to each person's name, and it has to be registered, because if it's not registered, it will still be recognizing the previous owner as the rightful owner of the land. So it helps you to protect your money. It ensures the seller isn't secretly selling the land for different owners, because once you have your land registered under the government, it protects you. It also protects your money, because it ensures the seller is not secretly selling the land or the same plot of land to 3 different people at the same time. So it is important you have your governor's consent registered. Now, if you are interested in purchasing a land or a property or a building or anything, you have to go into an agreement with the seller. As a buyer, you have to go into an agreement which you have to do a deed, which is often called the deed of assignment, or you can as well call it a registered deed of assignment. We have 2 types of deed of assignment. We have the registered deed of assignment, and we also have deed of assignment. What's the difference between deed of assignment and a registered deed of assignment? A deed of assignment is just an agreement between both parties, the buyer and the seller, which you can also call it the assigner and the assignee. So if you go into an agreement and both of you have it in your pocket and all, it's known as deed of assignment. You both have it as deed of assignment. But why not just do a registered deed of assignment, whereby you take it to the land registry, you have it sealed on the red wax, you have it sealed, and the whole world knows that you are now the original owner of the land. This protects you from the seller selling to another person again, because if your deed of assignment is not registered, the seller can as well sell it to another party. So it is important you have a registered deed of assignment. It is very important because it tells the whole world. Now, if a dispute happens, a registered deed of assignment is accepted by judges as solid, unbeatable evidence of your transaction, which means that the seller can never deny selling his or her land to you anymore. You are now the official owner of the land. That's if you registered the deed of assignment. Now, how do you verify a deed of assignment? Now, how do you register a deed of assignment? You have to conduct a legal search. Like I said, at every time you want to invest in real estate, you have to make sure you do your legal findings. Once you've done your legal search and you are totally okay with the land, by going to the land, verifying it with the surveyor, checking it, you are good with it, then you draft an agreement. Make sure your agreement is drafted by a lawyer. You have to draft a legal agreement, because without a lawyer, the agreement is as well as just a tight play between 2 parties. So once a lawyer drafts a deed of assignment, both parties, both buyers and the seller, along with witnesses, there will be a witness provided on the deed of assignment, and you have multiple copies along with the updated survey plan attached to it with the coordinates of the land. You submit the application for governor's consent at the Ministry of Land. This application includes the signed deed of assignment, the survey, the receipt, the picture of the site, and the identification document. Once everything has been submitted, the government surveyor charts the survey that was submitted in their database to make sure that the boundaries does not overlap with the land state or the public project. Officials may also conduct a physical site inspection to value the property. Now, after that, the government issue an assessment bill. You must pay the requirement statutory fee through the approved bank, which includes the consent fee, the stamp duty, the registered fee, and the capital gain tax / development charges. Once the payments are verified, the document is sent to the stamp duty office for official stamping. Afterwards, it receives the governor's official consent stamp or the approved signed by the designated commissioner for lands. The approved deed is given a unique registration number, a volume number, and a page number, then archived in the State Center Land Registry database. Once it is completed, your original deed of assignment, the registered deed of assignment carrying the official government stamp, serial number, signatories, gives you complete legal protection and quiet enjoyment of your land. I mentioned survey as part of the documents that are needed, when you want to submit your agreement to get it stamped. So now let's talk about a survey. Think of it as when you have an artwork and you want to frame it. The frame is what we refer to as the survey. It's more or less like the measurements we have on the ground. It is the government certified map drawn by a registered surveyor, not just anyhow surveyor, that shows the exact shape, the exact size, the location of your land, and also you get to see the name of the owner of the land. Now, what makes a survey official? We have 4 key valid points to check when you get a survey. You have to check those things. The beacon number. The corners of the land are the beacon number, so you have to make sure the beacon numbers are written on it. They are always drawn on the map. At every corner you see numbers. Those are the beacon numbers of the land. Also, we have the GPS coordinates. We have the longitude and the latitude. This shows that even if the pillars are destroyed, by when you get to a site, you see every corner, you show each are always, you see a block that are erected on each, which shows the boundary of your land. So let now, for instance, those blocks were demolished. With the help of the longitude and the latitude, you get to know the exact boundary of your land. Even if the fence is off, nobody can take the position of your land as long as you have your registered survey. Another one is the red copy. The surveyor has to lodge a copy directly to the Surveyor General Office. This log your plots in the government central map and shows that this land also belongs to you. Now, the SOCON seal and signature. It is the official stamp, the registered number, and the signature of the surveyor registered with the Surveyor Council of Nigeria. Now, we have 2 types of survey. We have the provisional formless survey and the registered survey. What are the difference between the provisional and the registered survey? A provisional survey is just a survey that are being used for a layout, just to check this particular land, where is it and all. That's a provisional survey. Now, a registered survey is a fully lodged with the Surveyor General with the original red copy, legally binding, which requires a CFO and a governor's consent or a court proof. Why is survey the foundation? You cannot get a CFO, a governor's consent, or a deed of assignment without a registered survey plan. It is the very first document needed to build any legal title. Now let's talk about Excision and Gazette. Who knows the CFO, the governor's consent, the global CFO. Once they hear Excision, most people usually they run. Once they hear what's the title of the land, they tell them it's Excision or Gazette. Most people are always scared of it. So let me take my time and explain it to you. Let's start with Excision. Excision is from the word excise. It means to cut out and slice off. When a community, asks the government to release the land they live on, the government will usually review the request and draw a boundary line just to cut out a particular portion and hand it back to the village or the traditional family. Meaning, the land is officially released from the government's control and given to the community for private use and development. So once it is excised, the land becomes free from committed government acquisition, which is what you will get after it's been excised. You will now have gazette. Now, what's a gazette? A gazette is called the publishing of news. Once it has been excised by the government, a gazette is an official government record where all the big laws, announcements, and land decisions are printed. Once the government approves the excision, they must announce it to the whole world that everyone knows that this boundary line has changed. It now belongs to this so-so family. The meaning is that a gazette is the official proof of an excision actually happening. What is inside? It shows the name / the village, the family, the total area of land excised, and the precise beacon number and the exact boundary coordinates. Now, if you are interested in buying a land and they tell you this land title is excision, you or your lawyer must verify the Gazette page number, the volume number at the land ministry if it's printed on the Gazette. So you have to make sure when buying a plot of land from a family, you verify it by checking the Gazette number. So now, if there are other situations whereby they tell you an excision is in process, which means that the family or the land vendor has submitted an application to the government asking that this land to be carved out and released to them. In simple terms, the excision is under process. It is still in process. That does not mean that the excision is out already. It is under process. So there is a bit of plus in it once you hear that an excision is in process, because it has few things. You have to be very when you hear excision in process. Like I said, once you have the excision, if the excision is out, it is actually safe as long as you can verify that it is gazetted. You have the number inside the gazette. Now, the risks of buying a land that's under excision in process is that it could be a committed land. Sometimes a family might request to excise a land, probably 100 acres, and eventually by the time the government are done, once they carve it out, they might not give them the total area. They might give them part of it or part of it. And there are some cases whereby an excision land in process might eventually not be excised. So it's very risky when you're buying a land and they tell you this land is under excision in process, unless your surveyor guarantees you that it is safe for you to invest. But with that, I really don't advise people to go for a property that's under excision in process. That is all on land documentation. On our next video, we'll be talking about planning approval. So let me give you a tip. When you want to buy a land, make sure you visit the site physically, or you can get someone to help you to visit the site physically. Involve a surveyor, even if survey is being shown to you. Involve a surveyor to go to the site and also pick the coordinates to verify if it coordinates with the surveyor the survey you were given, and from there, if it's okay, and you can also go to Alarusa to verify if that is the actual owner of the land. So from there, if everything is okay, you inform your lawyer and everything is okay, you are good to go. So don't forget, my name is Larry, and I will always bring you the best real estate investments for you to earn in Lagos, Nigeria. And thank you, and have a wonderful day.